Okay, I got a very, very radical thing to say. So I've been talking about what we need to do as Americans in order to counter ICE and in order to get our country back to where it needs to be. Obviously, Donald Trump has taken it upon himself to just, break a lot of laws. And I've been seeing a lot of Democrats and a lot of people on the left and all that talking about all the lawlessness from the right, mostly from Donald Trump himself, right? What we're seeing right now is that people actually love the lawlessness so long as that lawlessness is applied against people that they don't like, particularly the immigrants. And as far as ICE is concerned, they're not even only targeting the immigrants. And that's the big problem, right? A lot of people seem to believe, the blacks seem to believe that, I'm black by the way, the blacks seem to believe that, we're next perhaps. Perhaps the gays are next. I've seen some gays that are concerned about LGBT being targeted next. And maybe that's the case. But really with ICE, the concern is that innocent people are being killed. People that are not immigrants are being killed. They're being stopped in the middle of traffic. Local police in the areas where ICE is, they've lost their jurisdiction. They're not standing up to ICE. And so basically what the average person is thinking, you and me, is what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just sit back and let it happen? Is the best course of action for us to take to sit back and let things play out? Is that the best course of action? Okay, in the comments we can talk about that. Is the best course of action to do only the lawful things, such as protesting, such as voting, such as free speech, these types of things, right? Is that the best course of action, right? We've already done plenty of that, and almost nothing is changing. And I'm talking about both sides. I'm not just talking about Donald Trump and his corruption. I'm talking about even the corruption with the Democratic Party. So here's my first message. So I mentioned about three to five things in my last video that we need to do. Go check that out on my channel. I have a video, a rant on what the first few things we should do as Americans. Go watch that video so you can see the first five. Everybody talks about, oh, well, nobody's doing anything, and okay, well, watch that video, and then that video mostly talks about what the individual person needs to do. So that would be like you listening to the video. This video is about the long-term goals if we decide we want to stand up to oppression. Okay? So we have to know what we want in the end so that whatever we do is actually leading towards that. So one of the things we have to do, we have to make sure that once the trash has been taken out in the government, that even the Democratic Party is held accountable. I'm talking about Chuck Schumer, for example, who's the so-called leader of the Democratic Party. As far as I'm concerned, Chuck Schumer is extremely weak. There is no way in hell that if I was a senator or in the government in any way that I would be bowing down to the president. Like, my job is to put the president in check. That's literally what government is supposed to do. If you're in the legislative branch, your job is to keep the president in check. If you're on the Supreme Court, your job is you're supposed to be co-governing and working in the interest of people. So here's my next tip on what needs to be done. Virtually everybody in the government, very few people in the government should stay in the government. Almost everybody should be removed. The president should be removed. The vice president should be removed. Almost the entire Republican Party should be removed. Damn near all of the Democratic Party should be removed, with the exception of a few people. It seems, here's the problem. A lot of people are thinking that, oh, we're just going to vote, peaceful protest, and then we're going to do a couple votes, and then the power of the government is going to flip back to the Democrats, and everything's going to be okay, all right? No, actually, everything's not going to be okay. Everything's not going to be okay, because even when the Democrats take back over, you're still going to be dealing with, as an American, day to day, a failure in the job market, you not being able to approach the American dream, buying a house, all the stuff that Americans say they care about, having a shorter work week, having access to health care, free health, universal health care, excuse me, these types of things. We need to know that we're going to be taken care of because we need to be taken care of. The point of a system, of any system, if you study systems theory, is for the system to benefit the building blocks of the system. The point of a corporation is to benefit its employees and grow the corporation from the bottom up. The point of a country is to grow its citizens from the bottom up. Everybody should be succeeding. We're supposed to be succeeding together. We have this fucked up, split up mindset of personal responsibility and you're responsible for your own destiny. We're not in the United States as individuals. Individualism is an illusion. We are one unit. If everybody just decided to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do and we destroyed planet Earth, we're all going to die. It's an illusion that we're separate. No, we're on the same planet. What I do over here in the United States will affect people in China. It seems like it doesn't because we're so far apart. We're in the same ecosystem. It's one ecosystem. It's one damn thing. You guys know I teach spirituality, empirical spirituality on this channel. It's not just spiritual mumbo jumbo that we are all one. We are literally one thing. Mexicans, blacks, Asians, fucking tribes in the Amazon. You think these are different people? You think these people are separate? They're not separate. They're on the same planet as you. They are you. They're an extension of you. Let me not get too passionate on that side. Government officials must be replaced. Now, as far as ICE is concerned, the only thing that I can think of that is not too soft and not too dangerous is unless we step up as citizens and say, you know what, we're just going to have to rewrite the rules ourselves. So this is basically the next point I'm going to make. We must take it upon ourselves to start to rewrite the rules. This might mean that we have to create our own police forces. We might have to restructure policing ourselves instead of waiting for the legislative branch to draw up some kind of law that they're going to debate about and then ultimately not pass anyway. The government is not doing what we want them to do anyway. We cannot assume that the people in the government know what's best for us. They don't always know that. That's an assumption. And even when they know what's best, they still don't do it. They still don't do it. This is what people are not understanding. When it comes to corrupt policing, it would probably be best to counter-police them. I've never heard a strategy like this before. I sat down and I was thinking through some of this stuff, and I have a lot of ideas, and this is just one of them. When it comes to ICE, the people, that's us, may need to counter-police police ICE. Instead of ICE driving around and rounding up innocent people, right? And they get some immigrants, but they've been treating everybody like crap, and they've been getting innocent people as well. Okay, well, if there's no due process, if they can't do it correctly, then who are we to stand back and not counter-police them? What if we counter-arrest them? What if we just set up our own jail and then say, okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to police ourselves until you guys in the government start doing what we need you to do. People love to talk about revolts and taking down the government. Yeah, but that doesn't mean just grabbing a pitchfork and then raiding the Capitol or something like that. Like a bunch of people already tried that. We have to know what we want at the end of the road. It's not enough to just take it down. we have to put something else in place that will allow us to build the country that we actually want. Not to mention that any move that's made in a complex system like a country causes all sorts of unusual behaviors to arise within the system, right? Even with my ideas, even with something like a counter police force. So I'm trying to keep the videos a little shorter because I got like 15, 20 ideas, a part of a larger, it's part of a larger set of ideas. And make sure you watch the first video, like I said, that's on my channel. I just posted it yesterday. And that one explains what individuals should be doing, such as like writing their will, because we don't know what's going to happen next. But yeah, so really what you have to do is you need to think about, are things going to change for the better? And basically, that's just us sitting back and hoping. That's what that one entails. It's obvious that Donald Trump and the Republican Party is less interested in obeying the law than the Democrats. But I'm sorry. And with that being said, it's becoming foolish to continue to play a game that your opponent is not even playing. Your opponent has decided that, he's not playing chess, he's playing checkers. So he's just making any kind of move that he wants. And we're still trying to play chess as if our opponent gives a shit about our strategies and our nobility and our lawfulness and our honor and all this kind of stuff. Honor is probably going to get us killed if we don't change our strategy. And so that's my message for this video. Subscribe, like, do all that shit, share the video. We got to get a more coherent discussion started so that we can actually start to gather and make the moves that we want to make. So we're either going to make moves or we're not going to make the moves. I've been mostly silent because I'm a spiritual channel. I'm going to talk about it a little bit here for a few videos as I talk about all my plans, all my ideas rather. And then ultimately it's just going to require, it's going to require the rest of you to hop in or not. Don't spend too much time criticizing my plan. Mostly what we need to do is get people into this conversation first before we throw plans out the window. Before we throw good ideas out the window. Because in order to make change, it's not always going to happen through the normal pathways. You can't always make change by doing things what you consider to be the right way. Right and wrong is an illusion. Okay? So all that matters is what we want. That's ultimately what we're trying to do here as humans. It's like, well, what do we even want? And then once we know what we want, we need to set it up in a way to get that. And we need to prepare for the consequences of trying to change anything at all. I talked about that in the previous video. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video with the next few points and ideas.